Okay, now to the tubing. Got it all finished up. Used my aftermarket tubing stuff. I put the pipe on at this point just so I could get the tubing, with the pipe complete. With the motor, you have to make sure you come in with to get the pipe in, you come in with the bolts from the opposite side. You come in from the other side where the motor is. Don't forget the washers. Put the pipe here with the gasket in the middle, or the little metal gasket that comes with the pipe. And then the threads are in the pipe. Don't forget thread lock. This little nipple for the fuel pressure, I had to screw this in here. It came with the pipe. So again, don't forget the thread lock, putting that in there. Then you can run the tubing through these little holes in the frame. Run it through over here into the main tank. And if you don't have a header tank, then you would just run it into this filter here and into the carb. But I'm going into a header tank. Both of the tanks have a clunk weight in it. You want to get, if you have a header tank, you want to make sure you put, try to make it as these two outputs as level as possible. So with the mounting that came with it, I couldn't really do that, but I utilized this little piece that came with the kit. It usually goes on the frame here in one of these holes so that you can put like a certain kind of glow igniter in there, but I'm not going to use that for that, so I use that with the mounting screws to bring it down a little bit and make the header tank level. In order to get these little rubber gaskets in here, you probably want to put the gasket in first and then the little metal two-sided nipples, and make sure the clunk is in there. Let's see, make sure your fuel filter is in line right in front of the carb. This is a T filter. I'm going to put another little piece in here, and actually forgot to put the clips on here. I'm going to use some clips, so I'm just going to pull this off to get the clips on there. And when you fill the fuel, you're going to fill it in through here. Fill up the header tank first, then the main tank, or just the main tank if that's all you're using. And make sure you clip this side when you're filling up, because you don't want to flood out your engine and cause any problems. And you want to use just regular epoxy on the ends of the nipples, just a little bit on the ends when you push them in, so that these stay in place. So that's it with the tubing for the engine. Now we'll finish up with the head, and then we can try her out. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put the head on that we pre-assembled earlier, but first we're going to make sure we put the main gear in underneath. What I like to do is I'll usually leave the hex bolt on there in place instead of trying to put it on and screw it. Put it in place, remove this Jesus bolt here. You want to make sure you line up the holes in here, because there's a little plastic sheath, and if you turn it one way it'll move the sheath, and if you turn it the other way it won't. So if you turn it a little bit, you're going to have to keep turning it all the way until you match up the holes. Put it in here, run your head through nice and smooth through the holes, and then tighten the Jesus bolt with the nut behind it, and then you're going to put these little linkages on the swash plate, and these are all measured up and they're equal, and they actually equal the same length as this elevator arm. So we measured by the book. Hopefully everything matches up with our pitch, that we get middle pitch, and then we get the full swing that we want. So we're gonna put the main gear and the head on, and then we'll come back and review. Okay, now we've got the head on, and our helicopter is almost completely finished. I've got it at half stick right now. I'm not going to go too deep into all the setup procedures, but after measuring everything to the length that it recommended in the manual, everything lined up really well. I've got all these links level, even, This is at 50-50 on this throttle right here. Looks like I'm getting level pitch. A good way for me to check, I like to just put a screwdriver or a hex driver in there, and you look and make sure it's lined up with the main shaft. You put one in on the other side and make sure that they both line up with each other. We're also gonna, once we get it going, we're gonna hover it, and we'll also check the blade tracking according to that. But you know, make sure the phasing pins are in the washout base and that they don't slip out when you put the head on. And you know, make sure you get this screw in here. You want to get it tight, but you don't want to kill it, because if you just over torque it, you might end up just kind of warping the auto rotation gear, and you don't want to do that. Everything's moving nice and smooth. We got the head on. Next thing we're going to do is just put the tail blades on. We might as well, we'll put the main blades on and get the canopy all ready to go. Basically, for the canopy, we're going to have to put on, you know, some of these grub screws and a little plastic mount on the front of it. So then after that, engine break-in. Okay, last part of the build we're going to do is put the hardware on the canopy. Bag number 600 NC1 has all the hardware for the canopy. Open that up, and we've got a couple little nuts. We're going to put the grommets, or the little buttons, in here. You just want to squeeze it in and just work it in one at a time. This is a bit of a pain in the butt right here, but you just have to be patient with it and slowly work it in there. Use a little grease, maybe. I like to put some Tri-Flow on it afterwards because it kind of makes the thing last a little bit longer. I'm going to put this down here, screw that on, and once we've got all that set, we'll put that on. We'll put the blades on. Just make sure you put the blades on the right way. Like, for example, the tail blades, the tail is going to move counterclockwise, so make sure the blades are on the correct way. I don't know how many times I've heard stories of people putting their, you know, main or tail blades on the wrong way. The main head is going to move clockwise, so again, make sure you get the blades on. If you get the blades on backwards, you're going to have some serious problems. So we'll come back once we've got it all finished up and ready to go. Alright, and we have a final product here. The 600 Nitro. Everything is put together here. Nice little soft foam blade holder. Blades are all carbon fiber. Make sure you go through, give it a nice little rundown, check all the screws, screw those in, check all these ball links, give them a nice little tug, you know, make sure everything's nice and perfect before you go out and flying. And then soon we'll go to, once we get a break in the weather out here, go to filling it up and break in the engine. So there you go, T-Rex 600 Nitro Pro.